Sana'a is a city under siege. 6 months of bombing. Airstrikes day in, day out. The campaign is led by Saudi Arabia and backed by the West. The workers came out like pieces of coal, they say.
حصلنا منهم بعضهم قطع وبعض نص منه.
يعني خلاص روح كله ما عاد فيه ولا شيء. لا عوادم ولا مصنع. كامل.
يعني ما ذنب العمال.
يعني العمال حصلناهم يعني في المكاين.
Groups like Amnesty International and members of Parliament make it clear that this behaviour is unacceptable, and that is all part of holding Saudi Arabia to account. I cannot recall an example of such deliberate and repeated leaking of information in our time in the House. Would you confirm that it would not be open to the Privileges Committee if it's referred to them to call in the police, as this is not a criminal matter, but they would be able to call on the services of private investigators who have the capacity to interrogate the electronic records, including deleted emails, of potential sources of this confidential and private consideration of select committees, in this instance of the greatest seriousness, involving life and death issues and the employment of tens of thousands of our fellow citizens.
I understand. We have been told that you walked out the meeting last night because you did not think you were going to get the amendments through. So if you walked out, the meeting wouldn't be quorate and a vote couldn't be taken. Did you walk out the meeting last night?
That betrays a misunderstanding of how this particular collection of 4 committees works.
There wasn't a vote, though, was there?
Whatever comes out of this particular, of the oversight of arms export control committees is...
Did you walk out last night, Crispin Blunt?
Could you let me...
Did you walk out the committee?
I am not going to talk about a committee process that is still under consideration.
The suggestion is here that this report could not be completed and voted upon because you walked out last night because you were unhappy that your amendments did not get through. Your amendments watering down this report did not get through.
And the reason why this is so serious is because select committees are meant to work on a basis of trust, that the discussion you have is not, during the course of the discussion, then subject to consideration. And the contextualisation you put this in last night meant that about 26,000 people have received, given that it was, Dear Crispin Blunt and John Speller MP, please F off on the Saudi arms sale issues. You're totally convicted in favour of Saudi. That is a product of the contextualisation you put in.
But it was in the public domain and we reported it. I'm afraid I'm going to have to end it there.
And the fact,
Thank you very much,
it was completely improper for the way that the information was given to you.
Thank you very much, Crispin Blunt.
The view of my committee is that it would be an act close to insanity on every grounds to do a blanket suspension of British arms exports to Saudi Arabia.
What about the selective suspension? What about the selective suspension of the kinds of bombs that we know, kinds of bombs sold by Britain to Saudi Arabia, which we know have been dropped on civilian targets in Yemen?
And the implications of that, if some of those are laser-guided bombs, giving the Saudis the capability through a proper targeting process to actually hit what they're intending to hit. If it turned out that the courts decided we were in breach of our law, we should then look at the whole legal framework.
So we should soften our stance on
the criteria
under which we license our arms exports.
We might have to.